Si tu ilusión ha sido aprender, nuestro programa tienes que ver. Es la ventana del universo, un mundo nuevo para conocer. ¿Sabías que te enseñará lo que sucede en tu comunidad? ¿Sabías que te enseñará todas las cosas puedes alcanzar? ¿Sabías que? ¿Sabías que?
Muy buena tarde, tengan todos ustedes. Welcome to this special program. I am so happy. I am so honored to have this program. You know, we don't do special programs unless I think it's something worth of having it. And I want to welcome all of you to this special program because today I have an elected official for the Orland City Council. One of the things we want is to make sure that we elect the right person, somebody who has the interest at heart to care for the community. And I highly believe our guest today has that interest at heart. Help me please welcome to the screen, Jeffrey Tolley. Jeffrey, welcome to this segment. And I'm sorry for my English, but I'm so excited. So I just want to make sure that when we do the interview, everybody understands me, because when I get excited, it's like I stumble on my words. So welcome, Jeff. As I know you, Jeff, welcome.
Gracias.
Bienvenido, bienvenido. Para todos aquellos que no conocen a Jeff, Jeff es una persona de una familia de Orland, California, quien ha vivido ahí desde 1900. Fíjense, nada más, el bisabuelo de él inmigró desde Nueva York a la ciudad de Orland, pero originalmente llegaron de Francia en el siglo XVII. Uno de sus parientes, Stephen Hopkins, firmó la Declaración de Independencia. Por eso para mí es un honor tener a Jeff aquí en esta tarde. Orland ha hecho mucho por su familia y le gustaría devolver algo a cambio. Pueda que se presente como un candidato del consejo municipal, que es muy grande para todos nosotros, especialmente para los hispanos, ya que Jeff habla español. So a little bit of the interview in English or the introduction I just did. Jeff's family moved to Orland since 1900. Fíjense nada más. Can you believe that? They immigrated from New York, originally from France. The family came in the 1600s, and one of his relatives, Stephen Hopkins, signed the Declaration of Independence. What an honor for me it is to have you here, Jeff, just because of that. Having this background, it is definitely something that I am honored for. And to have you as a friend, to have known you for many years, and to have you today in this segment, it is even bigger. Thank you and welcome. Bienvenido.
You're very welcome. Yo hablo un poco español, pero es muy difícil por mí. So the interview in English, por favor, but by all means, translate. I did understand what you were saying in Spanish a little bit. So I understood a little bit, but
wonderful. So we will be doing the interview in English. And if you guys who are watching this program, who are following us, because we put some publicity, and I know some of you have already sent questions. If you want to be have the interview translated, I'll be happy. You just have to let me know. But let's start with my first question. What experience do you have in the local government, Jeff? Guide us to your career.
Yeah, well, it's not a career. So that for city council, it's mainly volunteer, to be honest.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean we're paid a little bit, and
uh,
the city of Orland has never gotten paid much. The elected officials, but it's mainly more volunteer, so it's not a career.
wonderful. You explained that, and I'm happy I asked you this question because I don't know anything about politics, and I want to get to know what it is. And I always wonder what kind of studies do you need to do? So thank you for clarifying that. It is important for me as well as for some people who have no idea how this works. I never knew. I'm very thankful for asking you this question.
You're welcome.
So what brought you to this area then?
What brought me to want to run?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I got elected 4 years ago, and I want to run again. I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's not easy, but then that's also kind of the point too. Is you don't have five people that all think the same and
Uh-huh.
do the same stuff. So it's separated amongst five independent people that have their own mind. They think about things, and so we get together and deliberate and make a decision
Uh-huh.
for the best of the town. That's in general like how it should work.
Uh-huh.
But for me, what brought me to it is there's a lot of things that that brought me to interest in city council. First would be I studied politics in college, and then then there's multiple things over time that got me more interested. And I thought when I graduated college, which was like 17 years ago or something like that, it was a
Mm-hmm.
while ago. Um, so what made me want to get involved, or I wanted to run like many more years in the future from now, but I got basically what happened with COVID and the pandemic. And then here, in our state, I just kind of got upset with stuff. And I said, well, I can either sit and talk and say, I'm upset with this, I'm upset with this, I'm upset with this. Oh, they need to change this, they need to change that. Or I can try and get involved and try and make things a little better. So that was the thing that made me want to take an extra step to get involved.
I That brings me to my next question. You said you ran 4 years ago and you want to continue, and you mentioned about five people from different areas, different perspectives, different points of views. How do you, or how is your opinion? No, let me say it in a different way. How do you handle disagreements then between yourself and the other members of the city council? Because I believe when there are decisions to make, you all sit down as you mentioned, but how do you handle the disagreements? How do you come up with, okay, we are all in agreement and we're gonna go ahead and do that? That must be very hard though.
Yeah, it is. For anything to pass, there needs to be 3 votes because there's 5 of us on there. So I have like 20% of the say as a representative for the town, and then there's 4 of the people that also have 20% of the vote. So there has to be 3 that agree for anything to pass.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we disagree on stuff. But it's just you have to honor each person for their viewpoint and respect them and say, well, we disagree, or I'm in the minority on something, then
Mhm.
whatever. I honor them for how they feel, but I just have to like respect it and let it be. So I mean, it's not easy, and sometimes there's arguments on city council meetings. Sometimes people say stuff that isn't the best, but we have to keep
Right.
moving forward. So and nothing's perfect. I think that to me
Definitely.
that's the big thing for me is nothing's perfect. And I remember back in 2015 when Donald Trump said he was going to run for president, Raymond Arroyo, who's from EWTN, he had a little article. It was in CNBC.
Mhm.
He was quoted in there. He said, "We're electing a president, not a messiah." So the Messiah is, the one behind me right over there. That's Jesus. There we go.
There
So
you
that's the
go.
Messiah, but I'm not that. I won't ever be that. I am imperfect. I'm a hugely imperfect
Right.
person, and that's the reality we need to look at. It is we have a bunch of imperfect people coming together, making decisions for the best of the people
Right.
that we're representing.
Right. So, what is your opinion of the importance of the engagement of the decision-making process? Because I guess it's also difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, like the engagement of the people that we're representing, or what do you mean?
Yeah, people, both. I will say people engaged in the decision making in the city council, as well as the community, because I believe it's also important to, I don't know, I used to, when I was a student, Jeff, I used to go to the city of Chico and sit and listen to decisions that they were going to be making when they were presented to the community of Chico. And my question is in that area. I was there and they will ask people, how do you feel as a community? How do you feel? So how do you engage, or how does the public engage in the decision-making process, as well as the inside council making the decision regarding the public?
Yeah, I guess there's multiple different ways to look at it, depending upon what is brought before us on the city council. So for most stuff, we're the ones making decisions on things in the city council. We're like the legislative body for the city of Orland. That for the most part, that's how it happens. So at the meetings, and we just had one 2 days ago on Tuesday, the public can come and sit in on the meeting, and they can, there's a section for each agenda item, as well as a public comment at the end of the meeting for people to come up and voice their opinion. And so that does, add more to our thought patterns and how we think about stuff. So there's that. There's the public views. They can vote on stuff. They can either vote for us, as council members or not. So if they like a candidate, they can vote them in. If they don't, they can vote them out. So that's their perspective too. And that's ultimately what it is. So, and there's a chart that I have, which shows the hierarchical structure. And at the very top is the citizens of Orland. So yes, there's not all people living in Orland are citizens, or I should say registered to vote. I think that's the better way, because you have a bunch of minors that cannot vote. I have a friend of mine that'll be 18 5 days after the election. Well, he can't vote for this election. So, but you have the citizens that can vote, and then under that is the city council, and then under that is our the city hall and all the people there. But at the top, once again, is the citizens. They're the ones that put people in office, whether they like them or not. And so I guess another segment would be, or another thing to add to this, is that there's the 5 of us on the city council. There's the staff that are there. It's maybe like 4 or 5 people per meeting. And then there's the people that show up at the meeting, the public. And not everyone has to be, like citizens or, live within the city. And they can voice their opinions. However, then there's everyone else that doesn't show up. Maybe they don't want to or don't have time, but they have a vote. And when it comes to election season, they can vote how they want. And I think that's really important to realize. That is, there's around like 3,500 people that can vote currently in Orland, and they all have a say to what they want. And that's the most important thing is them. And it's not our job to sit around and tell people what to do. It's our job to represent those people from, the city of Orland. And it's not just citizens. There's also people, minors, people that are registered, or not, I can't think of the word, not registered, legal resident. That's the word. Or even those that are not, legal resident. Well, they still live here too, and we represent all those people.
So that brings me to my next question. And again, I'm feeling so ignorant, but I want to get to know what is the role of a city council. So how will you ensure, because you're talking about the citizens, how will you ensure them, or how will you ensure that the needs of all the citizens of Orland are represented in the city council?
Yeah, that's tough. We're just 5 people amongst, our population in Orland, was like 8,500 or so. So we're supposed to represent all of those. And it's the reality is everyone going to be represented? We're going to try. We will try. Is everyone going to feel like or believe that they're being represented? Most likely not. Unfortunately, that's the reality of government. That's just the way it is. Like, the government people, they don't listen to me. They don't care. Well, we care, but I think the most important thing is for the people to come to the meetings and to voice their opinion to us and say, hey, I feel this way about this certain item, and I'd like to tell that to you, or to come to the meetings, etc. and it's an imperfect process to help out, as the whole town of Orland, but it's very imperfect. But we try. I think that's the main thing. We try.
You brought a memory to me, which is true. Sometimes we complain as citizens, but we don't go and sit in there and listen to what you have to say. Isn't that the case for many of us? That's why when I was a student, I wanted to get involved. I was a journalist. I was doing reporting for Channel 12, if you remember Channel 12. And I was involved because I wanted to know how will their decisions will affect me and the community. And because of my role as a correspondent of Channel 12 or ambassador, I wanted to be fully knowledgeable of what was happening in the community. But isn't it true that nowadays not too many people show interest and they just complain, but they don't go?
Yeah, and what you just said is probably one of the biggest things that I've learned for the past 4 years. And I mean, I've known this for a while, but I was at a city commission meeting last week, and then one of the commission members, I won't say who, but one of the commission members said, and unfortunately in Orland, there's a lot of complaints going on, and and that's people can voice their complaints, and that's okay. But there's certain issues that people are upset about, and by all means voice their opinion. But this commission member said, you have the people representing us, such as myself or him. But the reality is that each person, whether they're a citizen or not, maybe the person's legal resident. I met multiple people like that are living here in Orland that have chosen not to be citizens. They can, but they've chosen. They just want to be legal resident for their country where they came from. I mean, that's their choice. But the reality is that each person has a duty to voice their opinion. And if they don't, and if they're not letting us know what's going on, then how can we be held accountable for not voicing their thoughts if we don't even know them? So the reality is you have the people that we're representing, and then the people that are representing those people. So it's kind of like a dance. We have to talk to each other, so that way everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's true. And when it comes to the time for voting for our next candidates, I always do kind of publicity and programs to ensure and to push people. And my topic always is, if you are registered to vote, let your voice be heard. Do it, because that's the only way we're going to make changes. If I don't vote, being a citizen, then why did I become a citizen? I'm not giving myself the opportunity to voice my opinion, to let you know who am I and what I want from you. So this brings me to the next question. Describe to me in the past 4 years that you were already there as representing the city council in Orland. What has been, or what had if you had to make a difficult decision as a city council member? Has there any difficult time for you?
Yeah, I guess being in the minority on stuff is tough. However, I have to follow through with what my beliefs are, as well as talking to people. I mean, if I'm the only one that has that belief and no one else does, then what's the point of me voicing my opinion? So I think, but there's 2 instances, and for the amount of time we don't have all day, but the most recent would be a tax, a Measure J tax, which will be on our ballot come November 5th during the presidential election. So that has been tough, because all 4 of the others, they want this. They want this big time. However, myself, I don't believe is necessary. So I voted no. I'm the only one that voted no on this. However, every single person that I've talked to, which is a lot in town, not one single person has said they support this. No one has that I've talked to. And so I know that I'm representing them. And even if this passes, and so we voted yes to put it on the ballot, and then it goes out to the people to vote whether they want this or not. So they're the ones that ultimately make the decision. But I know for a fact that I have spoken on behalf of those people that also say no. And whether this passes or not, I know I've done the right thing because I'm representing those people. But if it doesn't pass, then I definitely know that I've done the right thing by voicing no on it.
Exactly. And that's a big deal, though. I mean, having to do that and being by yourself, being the minority, but you're representing all these people that you have behind you. And that makes a lot. That means a lot to us. I'm not from Orland, but I support you, and I've been supporting you all the time. And I've heard you talking, and I've heard your speech, and I know you, and I know that you will always do the right thing. So thank you for that. And even though I'm not from that community, I know it will also benefit me because I do a lot of things in Orland. So that's good. That's good. Thank you for that. So explain to me, this is one of the questions that was asked, and I wanted to put it as a question for representing all those people. What is your understanding of the role of the city council, as a role of the city council member in promoting the economic development? We hear a lot happening in Orland, and it is an opportunity for growth right now, the local economy, the market, the potential opportunities. So what is your understanding of this regarding the promotion of economic development?
Yeah, well, that all five of us would agree on. We want more economic development to happen within the town. However, unfortunately, there's a huge misunderstanding, and I hear it all the time. But it's like, because our town is much smaller than Chico, like a lot smaller. But sometimes I hear, or a lot of times I hear from people like, "Oh, Orland, the city government doesn't want any growth. They don't want any business. They want everything to stay the same." Well, it's not true. All five of us would do not agree with that. That are on the current city council. And I know many previous council members also agree with that too. But the reality is that businesses themselves they're the ones that decide whether they want to come into Orland or not. So it's not us saying, "Oh, we want In-N-Out to come into Orland," or we want like a Costco to come into Orland. Even though we may want that, however, the business has to be the ones to decide it, or developers making homes or apartments. They're the ones that have to decide to come into Orland or not. That is something outside of us as city councilmen. So basically our job is to zone stuff properly and to help businesses as much as we can. But it all comes down to them making that decision or not. And I remember when I was first elected, someone that I've known a very long time, we went to like high school together. And he said, "Oh yeah, Jeff, you should bring in an In-N-Out." So I was like, "All right, well, let me look into it." So I talked to our city manager, and the city manager immediately said, "Yeah, we've looked into it. But the reality is that us as a town, we're so small. And for them, they have like parameters on what they want. They want a city to be able to function, or not to function, to be able to take care of it by itself without like travelers. For us, we have the Interstate 5, which is big. A lot of people go through there. But if we didn't have that, could City of Orland sustain In-N-Out? Probably not, because we're so small. So that they have certain things that they look for in a business or in like dynamics of a town that would make it good or not. So that's just like an example. And I know there's many others that would choose not to come here because we're so small. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, you did. And I have a question from the public, and I will bring it up to you. It's a question from Marcelo Ordóñez. And it says, "What's more important for our city right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?"
Leave that up there because I see it, so I can read it. Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts. Well, I guess there's many different aspects to that. So better utilizing our existing homes. My answer off the top of my head, I think that would come down to the homeowner, whether they want to make it look beautiful or not. I think that would be their choice. I hope that answers your question. Storefronts, that also comes down to the business owner, whether they want to or not. We do have a program in the city of Orland that's been gone on for a while. It's called the Facade Improvement Plan. So if a business owner, like the outside of the business, there's some some, problems or imperfections about it, they want to do like a paint job and make it look nicer to passersby, they can, fill out a grant and they can get some money from the city of Orland. They have to basically match it 50-50, but that would be free money from the city of Orland to help out the storefront of the business. So we do have something going on for that. If he's a business owner, call the city hall and they'll help him out with that. And then the first part, building new homes and commercial space. I guess the commercial space would be the zoning of like empty spaces in town, and we've zoned it pretty well. I mean, we are once again a small town, but if he's interested in opening a business, talk to the city hall, talk to the city planner who's in office on Thursdays. You could talk to him, and the city planner would be more than willing to help him out with that. And building new homes. So there's many different things going on in this question, but building new homes, I mean, we want that to happen all the time because that means more growth, more income for the city, more people in town, better for our own economics. And we're open to that all the time. And then something that happened on Tuesday was CHIP Housing came to us, and well, this was actually last year. They came to us, I forget exactly when, but I know it was a year ago in 2023. And they were planning on building 64 new homes a little bit out east of town. And then so they opened it up for applications, and there was like, I think 900 people that applied for this. I believe that's the number, like huge amount. So then immediately they picked up, or they chose 64 of those people. And so CHIP has been having some difficulties because they get a lot of money from their funding from USDA grants. So that's from the feds. And so, that's back east. That's why I'm pointing that way. But so from the feds, but they're getting money or difficulties from them. And so that's kind of holding them up a little bit. So they came before the city and asking if we could help them out with, like cutting down their DIF development impact fees by $10,000 per unit. But if we did that, then that would significantly lower the amount of income. Well, the amount of like tax dollars that would come in to help out the city. So basically what is happening from USDA, by them not getting money from them, now they're wanting us to cut down on prices. So either way, someone's getting hurt.
Right.
And then a big problem, I mean, this needs to be explained a lot, but if we did not pull in that development impact fee, that would significantly impact the services that we as a city can provide to the people of Orland. So, and then also, this is something I brought up during the meeting 2 days ago, is they were saying the CHIP homes in Orland are about 394,000 on average, but so that would be like the value of a CHIP home in Orland. But what they would be selling them for would be about 365,000, and that's only a $29,000 difference, which isn't much. And I always thought there was a huger variance between the value of the home and then what they're selling them for, but that's just a small amount. And I was like, well, I mean, you guys want us to cut down on the price a little bit, and that'll seriously impact the town of Orland.
Exactly.
So I mean, yeah, we want to help out. I mean, we would all like to help out them, but because USDA isn't helping out them, then that would affect us if we gave them that grant, or the charging $10,000 less on the DIF fees. So either way, someone's going to get hurt.
Right.
I mean, if the people getting those homes gets the $10,000, they have to pay $10,000 less, but that's seriously going to affect everyone in town because the less money coming in for all the towns. So either way, someone will get hurt.
Right. I have another question, and it reads like this. Question from Christopher from Orland. Hearing you explaining your answer from the previous question, if someone has a proposal to build a new place of public infrastructure in our city, how will you evaluate whether or not that project was worth implementing? And it's like a follow-up from the previous question, which is great.
I need to read this. If someone has a proposal to build a new piece of public infrastructure in our city, how would you evaluate whether or not that was worth implementing? So, I mean, good question. I think it would be more of an idea. So, like because it's public, the city council is in charge of that. So the person would have an idea of public infrastructure, whatever it is. Like, hey, you guys need to do more sidewalks or more, curb and gutters, or more road repair, or work on the water lines. That would be public infrastructure, but it'd be an idea from a person. And then, if this is a really difficult answer, but it's the truth. So what we would do as a city council, if someone brings that idea up and like, okay, that's a good idea, we would send it off to the commission, one of the commissions. They would deliberate themselves. I would suggest to this person to go talk to that commission, and then they would deliberate amongst themselves, talk it over whether it's good or bad, and then they would make a recommendation to the city of Orland, and then we would decide whether or not it's good or bad. So that's kind of broad answer, but that's pretty much how it would work. So there's many different commissions that help out with many different aspects of that town. So, and if we did not have any of those, the city council would have to do all that work. And then it would go from basically almost volunteer work to basically full-time jobs. It'd be a lot of work. But that's how it's set up, is that each of those commissions deals with those specific things, and then they take it and then make a recommendation and then talk back to us about it. And that's generally how municipal or city governments work. So I hope that answers his question.
I think so. There's a lady who's asking not to put her question there, but she says, hola Jeff, soy mexicana y tengo una pregunta. ¿Cómo vas a ayudar a la comunidad mexicana? Hello Jeff, I'm Mexican. My name is Rosa Vasquez. I'm from Orland. How will you help the Mexican community in this next term?
No, that's great. That's a great question. We don't try and only help out certain people, whether they're Mexican, whether they're Hispanic, from Brazil, from Colombia, Russia, Ireland. We try and help out everyone from wherever they come from. And in regards to helping out the Mexican community, that is like a really broad question, because I don't know how we're not helping out the Mexican community, but maybe I would ask that person to maybe get more specific, so that way it's a specific thing that she's talking about. But we try and help out everyone. I would also suggest this for her, or any Mexican or any Hispanic or whatever, to come to city council meetings and voice their opinion, so that way we know what's going on. Because for the reality is, there isn't too many that show up. I should also say this: there isn't too many people that show up in the meetings in general. There just isn't. There has been recently, but usually there's like 5 people that have showed up for the past 4 years. There isn't much. But I would suggest showing up at the meetings, voicing their opinion, or talking to one of us city councilmen and letting us know things that she's concerned with. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Are there any things that she's concerned with that we can help out with? Because that's like a pretty general question.
Right. Here's something she added, and it says, I'll put it in there. Gracias. Nunca he ido a una junta. Thank you. I never been in a meeting, but my preoccupation is the youth who have no school, no studies. They never gone to school, or they didn't finish the school. And I will send her a message personally, because I know who she is, Rosa Vasquez. I believe she's coming from this perspective. And Rosa, please let me know if I'm wrong. Déjeme saber, Rosa, si estoy equivocada. I believe she's guided into there. We have heard, for example, in Chicago, we have heard of a lot of gangs in Orland that are from kids who have not gone to school, or quit school, or drop out from school. And I highly believe this is her preoccupation, her worry. Is this okay, Rosa? Déjeme saber, Rosa, si es esta la preocupación de usted, de los jóvenes que no tienen estudios y que entran a pandillas. I hope she answers to me, but I will send her a personal message. And hopefully, Jeff, we have you again, because I'm learning so much from you. Again, I'm not a politician. And when I ask you be in my program, is because I want to educate myself in what is to be a member of the city council. We'll say this, but I think you answer in the right way. You're not here just to help the Mexican community, but all the communities that are there. But I have a last question for you. Okay. I love this question. Okay. And this is my question. So What is your favorite place in Orland to visit or to have or spend time in?
Oh, well, I mean, I could answer that, or the picture behind me could answer that. I mean, that's pretty simple. Like I'm at the church often, and for me, that's the most important thing in my life, because if it wasn't for Jesus in my life, my faith, and becoming Catholic 16 years ago, and I was born and raised, Christian, but for
Mhm.
me, well, it was actually like 19 years ago, the things began to change in my life, and so I started to pursue my faith even more, and I became Catholic 16 years ago. And that hands down, my faith is everything, because if I did not have Jesus in my life, like my life would be meaningless, to be
Mhm.
honest. So I beforehand, there's many things that happened in my life. I wasn't like have a huge amount of joy in my life.
Mhm.
I was like restless. So that the great quote by Saint Augustine is, we will always be restless until we find rest in God," or
Right,
something like that.
right.
And but
So,
that's true for me. It doesn't matter what I do in my life, as long as I focus on my faith in Jesus,
mhm.
then everything else will bring me happiness, or I'll find happiness in everything. So that's where I spend a lot of my time. So I hope that answers your question.
It answers, and it brings me to the conclusion of this or closing of this interview for today. And I hope to see you again here before the election so we can promote you. That's a big interest of mine. I'm also Catholic, and I met you in church in
Yes.
Orland, and
See.
I'm very happy to have met you that day. When you approached me and you said beautiful words to me, welcome me, and all in Spanish, and I feel welcome in the city. So thank you for that. And I believe and highly believe that when you say who you are and you do what you say, the coherence is visible. You don't have to ask questions. Is there? The person shows their real you, and it shows. I mean, I believe in coherence. If I say something, I have to do that. And I've known you for many years, and that's who you are. That's who Jeff is. I call him Jeff. His name is on the screen, Jeffrey Tolley. And
Tolley. There's
Tolley,
two L's.
Tolley,
Yeah, it's
Tolley,
okay, but it's okay.
Tolley. No, no, no. Thank you, thank you. I was a professor at Chico State and Butte College, and I like to be corrected because English is. Somebody asked me when was the time when you knew English, and I said I'm still learning. There's
Yeah.
always time to learn. So thank you. I appreciate that, Tolley.
Welcome. You're welcome. Is there one thing I can say before this ends? And
Yes,
it's
please.
okay, and it's basically basically confirming exactly what you said, because I don't even know remember I don't remember exactly when I heard this or believed in it, but this is like 10, 15 years ago. But I heard this saying, actions speak louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what a person says. They can say the nicest stuff and the biggest compliments to someone and make
Mm-hmm.
everyone feel happy all the time. But if they don't follow through with that, with their words, with their actions, then it's useless. It means nothing. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I try and actually follow through with what I say, with what I do. And that's something, I guess that would be like my unofficial campaign slogan this year is actions speak louder than words. And whether people like what I say or not, then that's their choice. At least I'm being honest. So
Yeah. And Buckley is the one who said, las acciones hablan por sí mismas más que las palabras. So it is true. When I do what I say, is when people are convinced, and that's of whatever I promote. So I am convinced that you will be elected again and represent us. And I include myself because of my closeness to Orland and to the people of Orland, that you will represent us again in the right way in all that involves in who Jeff is, beliefs, actions, and how do you say that, courage to help the community that you will be representing. Jeff, it has been really an honor for me to have you here. We have to close the program now, but I'm very happy we say half an hour and we overpass that, and I don't mind, except that I have another compromise right now. But next time we'll do an hour.
Okay.
Hopefully you feel comfortable with us, and we'll have you again in this channel, which is a digital TV channel, Diario Sabías Que, serving the northern community, and definitely in this specific program, serving the community that Jeff is representing, Orla's community. People from all over the world will see this interview, but definitely we are trying to get to you guys from the area of Orland and have you talk to Jeff. After Mass, he's there. And I know that he won't turn his back. And if he does, you come and tell me.
There you go. There you go.
That's how secure and sure I am. Jeff, it's been a pleasure to have you here. And next time we'll try to do some questions in Spanish for those people interested in having you talk in Espanol. Muchas gracias, Jeff. A big hug, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, qué bueno.
Thank you, gracias. Hasta pronto, que tengan un excelente y muy bendecido día. Para todos ustedes que han estado aquí con nosotros, les agradecemos nuevamente. Jeff, aquí con nosotros representando la ciudad de Orland. No se les olvide, si ustedes están interesados en patrocinar a cualquier acción de Jeff, pueden hacerlo, pueden comunicarse con él. Yo me despido diciéndoles gracias y hasta la próxima semana.